What's good? What's good? Another video. It's been a while, it's been like 5 days since the last one. Yeah, but in this one, yeah, you see the title. Yeah, I'm just gonna get into it. So the main reason I like you MGTOW people is because your brains aren't dead yet. So to be honest, I'm not even as MGTOW as you guys. I'm already looking for my 18-year-old virgin. No, I'm kidding. Kinda. I'm pretty much kidding on that. But contrary to your belief, there's plenty of them, to be honest. And if you don't believe me, just move to the countryside because all you need to do here is go to the local Winko and then you'll see a bunch. So, yeah. One thing I realized growing up is that actually, to be honest, I learned most of this over the past year because of COVID. I think a lot of people grew up in this past year. Like a lot of young people, I think, grew up, and even not so young people. Even people like in their 30s and stuff like that, to be honest, it seems like they kind of grew up too. But one thing I kind of realized is that the United States is an aging society. So the average age in the United States is actually over 30 years old. I think it's 30 point something years old. Last time I checked, which was probably like earlier this year. So I mean, think about that, the average age being over 30. And to be honest, I don't want to think about it anymore because my brain already kind of fleshed out too much, and I'm good on thinking about that. But you can think about it. So our society is largely not open to new ideas. I mean, I was watching Bloomberg today, and they had this whole segment on flying cars. So is that going to be the new thing apparently? And I mean, it was the same old people investing in it. Like Morgan Stanley, they were talking about was investing in it. So the same old people investing in new stuff. Like, what is that, new or old? To be honest, and then they had liberal groups that were saying that flying cars would represent the newest barrier between the wealthy and the poor, and which they're honestly probably right, to be honest. So it's like, what does new technology bring? Is it just more stratification? Because then, or is that how it always is? Because I like technology personally, so it was cool to learn about that stuff. But at some point, you just gonna keep building stuff that most people can't even use. Yeah, that's just, for some reason, that's just not naturally appealing to me. And obviously they're like, oh, life is hard, and you don't always get what you want and stuff like that, but I feel like there's a difference between things being hard and things just not making sense in a way that's that makes it just not makes things seem not worth doing. I think that's a difference. When something's hard, but it's like, oh, you gotta do it, that's a whole different mindset than when something is hard, but even just the idea of doing it seems kind of cool, but then it's like, okay, what's the result gonna be? And then if the result's just the same kind of stratification, but it is what it is. Flying cars, cool concept, cool concept to just in terms of the technology. But yeah, so our society, other than that, not really open to new ideas. And they were talking 2040 in terms of that flying car stuff. So 2040, that's 19 years, 20 years from now. That's not that long, but it kind of is pretty long. So if that's the closest new thing, like that just shows you only wealthy people are really concerned with it. When you're talking about a time scale that long, like, and the building is gonna take that long, that just means that it's not the average person who's wanting that to happen. It's just a group of wealthy people putting their money. They said 20 companies were doing it. So that's a group of wealthy people putting their money into 20 companies that are going to make flying cars for the wealthy people. Right? So that's not quite the same. What is it? Jetsons, those old cartoons with flying cars and stuff. Like, were the Jetsons rich? That's not quite the average man. That's not quite the society where you have like a bunch of flying cars buzzing around, and the average person is like using that to go to work or something, or using that to go around. That's not quite the technological utopia that people may have imagined with those cartoons and stuff. It's not quite what it seems like it's gonna be there. And if you even look at Teslas, who drives Teslas now, to be honest? I see only a few of them in my neighborhood, and my neighborhood is relatively upper crust, because like this is my parents' house. Like, so it's just a bunch of old people, like, that have their money in stocks driving Teslas. That's not, like, we're not even yet to self-driving cars for the masses yet, and we're already talking about flying cars. Like, to me, that's just people being left behind, in my opinion, straight up. But like, so look at what the current crop of entrepreneurs are doing. Getting back to the script here, they're attempting to leave the planet. Think about it, like Elon, like, so they're either literally attempting to leave the planet. So think about Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk competing for government contracts to get NASA spaceships so they can go to the moon and Mars and stuff like that. You have those entrepreneurs trying to leave the planet. Or if you have less capital, so think of the average entrepreneur, like me, kind of, to be honest. The average entrepreneur, if they don't have all that capital, like Elon Musk or Bezos, they're trying to enter the digital world, like me right now, posting YouTube videos, learning about technology like blockchain, and now I've kind of expanded my scope, so it's not just blockchain anymore, but me learning about digital technology. So you're either trying to leave the planet, literally, or leave the planet and go into the digital planet. So that just tells you all this space in terms of the real world is just taken up. Like, so you have even your entrepreneur that has a bunch of capital is trying to go to space. That just tells you. And your average entrepreneur, like Elon Musk, he can't even get his Teslas to the masses. It's still only rich people getting Teslas. He can't even get the Teslas to the masses. So that just shows you, like, what are we going? Are we trying to get toward a technological utopia? Or are we just, like, basically failing? Because the thing about technology is, like, you iterate, and then first it doesn't work quite the way you want, but then eventually it's supposed to get there over time. Like, and in these cases, it's not even really getting there. It's just like they're putting something out and it gets to the wealthy, basically, and that's it. Like, and then it iterate, it doesn't even really, it just, it doesn't even really iterate that much, like, because now they're already talking about, like, trying to go to the moon. Like, what are they going to do? Plaster the name Tesla, put that on the side of the rocket ship going to the moon, that only rich people are going to be flying to the moon? Like, come on. I mean, that's definitely not the tech utopia we thought about, but maybe that's not even the point. So, that's funny. But as a young person, as like a kid, I honestly couldn't wait until basically this moment right now. Like, I'm 24 years old, and I thought by this time my generation would be able to start building stuff. And I have a few friends, like I have one buddy who's actually working in one of these, I don't know if it's one of these 20 companies, and maybe it is, like, getting all this capital, but he's in the Bay Area and he's working on like a flying car. And that's pretty interesting, but most of my friends honestly ended up jumping into the nearest bureaucracy, like the vast majority of them. And I live in California. The vast majority of them. Some of my friends are kind of moved out of state now. But even what they're doing out of state, it's the same thing. Jumping into the nearest bureaucracy. That's like not my expectations at all in terms of building stuff. Granted, I was young and naive thinking that we would group together and build stuff. Like, that was completely naive. Like, I thought that up until like COVID. Like, after COVID, I'm like, okay, so that just doesn't happen in reality. But I'm, for some reason, because I just want to do, because, like, okay, I mean, let me just move on. Young people get all this education just to enter a wasteland, it seems like, where the wealthy people just fund their own projects, and then the rest of everybody else is basically, like, kind of communist almost. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. And that's how it seems like. And I put force into what the old people are doing. And I don't think it started this way, because the way I was thinking was, oh, we're going to change all this stuff, like build our own stuff. But we ended up just doing what our parents did, for lack of a better word. And they did what their parents did, which was jump into a bureaucracy and let things get stratified more, and not be able to do anything because they were in a bureaucracy. And maybe is that just the way of life, how it works, like beyond even our society? Is that just how humans work in general? See, that's like the thing I'm trying to determine. Is this just how humans operate in general, or is our society, is it the way that it's structured? Like, that's why everyone acts the way they do. And honestly, that's probably a question that's asked across all humans. So the question itself is probably asked across all human societies almost ever, probably. But is ours any different from those previous societies? That's the question, right? Not a unique question, probably. Not a unique question. But at this point, I'll just keep trying to grow this YouTube, because this is pretty much what I got at this point. And I'm honestly glad I started this YouTube, because what else can you grow, to be honest? Like, you can grow. I just cracked my knuckles there, if you heard that. That was actually a really good crack. But what can you grow? You can grow your body, so try to get buff or something. I mean, not fat, A bunch of people are getting fat. Like, this is California. A bunch of people are getting fat. So I'm not talking about getting fat, but you can grow your body in terms of, like, try to get muscle or something, which I'm kind of trying to do. Just because, that's, like, fun as, like, a 20-something-year-old male. And then I can grow this YouTube. Those are basically two of the only things I can try to grow from the ground up. I mean, technically this is from the cloud. Like, but just in terms of the saying from the ground. So yeah, so I'm just gonna keep focusing on this, and it's growing pretty good, to be honest. I have 23 subs now, and like, dang, that's pretty crazy to me. Like, plus 10 subs the month of March, and plus 6 subs all plus 6 subs in April so far. And then don't even talk about the impressions and views, because that is going crazy up in the past 2 months. Like, this algorithm just keeps doing work. Yeah, so, I mean, for all the hate that people talk about these social media algorithms, these things do work. I mean, if they track people and stuff, it is what it is. And I'll talk about Project Jigsaw and other stuff like that, because the tracking isn't necessarily the best thing. And I'll have some tech videos coming up because I'm learning a shit ton. But I'll leave it there. I mean, these algorithms are just doing work. I'm sorry. Like, all this privacy stuff, that makes sense to me, but these algorithms are doing work. Like, work on work. And that's all I gotta say. So, like, comment, and subscribe if you like that content. I'm sorry this video was long as fuck, so anyone who made it this far, you better like that shit, and even sub. I got 37 returning viewers this month. Like, leave that subscription, because, I mean, like, we might not be making flying cars with this shit, but hopefully we do something kind of cool or different or new or whatever. But yeah, peace out. Healthcare Network, at least. Peace.